Before we begin, make sure you like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel so you never miss the fascinating hidden stories behind Britain's most iconic personalities. Today, we embark on a journey into the mysterious and extraordinary life of William Shakespeare. Now, you've probably heard his name hundreds of times: schools, theaters, television, and films. But how much do we really know about the man they call the Bard of Avon? Imagine yourself standing on the cobbled streets of 16th century Stratford-upon-Avon. The smell of leather, freshly cut wood, and bread from local bakeries fills the air. In the heart of this little town, in April 1564, a boy is born to John Shakespeare, a glovemaker, and Mary Arden, the daughter of a farmer. This boy would go on to revolutionize the English language, invent genres in theater, and create characters so vivid that 400 years later, we still talk about them as if they were real people. But what most people don't know is that Shakespeare's life wasn't just about plays and poetry. It was filled with mysteries, contradictions, controversies, and even scandals that continue to intrigue scholars and ordinary people alike in Britain and beyond. He is one of those rare figures whose personal story is almost as fascinating as the works he left behind. And in this first part of our deep exploration, we'll peel back the layers to discover Shakespeare the boy, Shakespeare the man, and Shakespeare the legend. The Stratford of Shakespeare's childhood was not the romantic postcard town tourists see today. It was a bustling, somewhat rough provincial market town. Disease was rampant, education was harsh, and class divisions were sharp. Yet in this setting, young William attended the local grammar school, where he learned Latin, rhetoric, and classic literature. Imagine a boy, barely in his teens, forced to memorize long passages of Virgil and Ovid, lines of Cicero's speeches, and rules of Latin grammar that most modern students would find impossibly dull. But for Shakespeare, these early lessons were a treasure chest of stories and vocabulary that he would later weave into his plays. Few people realize that without this strict, almost punishing education, Shakespeare might never have had the tools to create such intricate worlds filled with gods, kings, and philosophical debates. He was not a university scholar, but the foundation of his brilliance was laid in these classrooms of Stratford, where young boys were drilled in the classics from dawn till dusk. It's ironic that what many kids would have considered torture at the time became the very source of Shakespeare's genius. But then comes one of the biggest mysteries in Shakespeare's life, the so-called lost years. After the age of 18, when he married Anne Hathaway, the records of his life simply vanish. For nearly 7 years, no one knows where he was, what he was doing, or how he was preparing for the extraordinary career that lay ahead. Some say he worked as a schoolmaster in the countryside. Others believe he fled Stratford after poaching deer from a local nobleman's estate. More sensational theories suggest he might have traveled abroad, perhaps to Italy, where many of his plays are set with surprisingly authentic detail, or to London, where he could have been mingling with actors, sailors, and scholars. There are even fringe theories that he might have been a spy for Queen Elizabeth's government, feeding intelligence during a time when England was constantly threatened by Catholic plots and foreign powers. Whatever the truth, these missing years add an air of intrigue to his life, leaving us to wonder, how did an ordinary glovemaker's son suddenly appear in London as a fully formed playwright, ready to conquer the stage? Now, let's talk about the world Shakespeare entered. London at the time was a dangerous, yet exhilarating city. Streets were crowded with merchants, beggars, thieves, and entertainers. Theaters were often considered scandalous, even sinful, by the more religious citizens. Yet, they were also wildly popular. The Globe Theatre, where many of Shakespeare's plays would later be performed, was not the glamorous venue we imagine today. It was noisy, chaotic, and at times downright dangerous. Imagine standing in a crowd of rowdy spectators called groundlings who paid just a penny to watch a play. They would drink, shout, cheer, and even throw things at the stage if they didn't like the performance. And yet, Shakespeare's words were powerful enough to silence these rowdy crowds, making them laugh at witty jokes, cry at tragic deaths, and gasp at shocking betrayals. It's one of those details that modern audiences often forget. His plays were not written for polite, quiet theaters, but for noisy arenas filled with ordinary Londoners. The fact that his stories could hold such attention is a testament to his mastery. Most people know about Shakespeare's plays, but fewer know that he was also an astute businessman. Unlike many writers of his time who died in poverty, Shakespeare invested wisely. He became a shareholder in acting companies, purchased land in Stratford, and earned significant income from his plays and theater shares. By the time he retired in 1613, he was one of the wealthiest men in Stratford. This often surprises people who imagine him as a starving artist scribbling by candlelight. No, Shakespeare was practical, shrewd, and financially secure. And this very fact is why his works survived. He had the means to ensure their publication and preservation. Without his careful business sense, much of what we now call the Shakespearean canon might have been lost to history. And yet, despite his fame and wealth, Shakespeare's personal life remains a puzzle. His marriage to Anne Hathaway raises more questions than answers. Why did he marry so young, at just 18, to a woman 8 years his senior? Why did he leave Stratford soon after, spending most of his career in London, away from his family? Why did he leave Anne only his second-best bed in his will? Was it a subtle insult or a secret sign of affection, since the second-best bed was their marital bed? These questions continue to spark debate, and they reveal a side of Shakespeare that is deeply human, flawed, mysterious, and contradictory. For all his genius, he was also a man whose personal choices still puzzle historians. As we unravel the life of William Shakespeare, one thing becomes clear. He wasn't just a playwright or a poet. He was a storyteller who captured the soul of Britain, giving us words and worlds that still define who we are today. From the cobbled streets of Stratford to the bustling theaters of London, his journey is as dramatic as the plays he wrote. And in the next sections of this story, we'll go even deeper into the secrets of his works, the controversies surrounding his authorship, and the enduring legacy that makes him Britain's most celebrated cultural figure. So stay with us, because the untold story of William Shakespeare has only just begun. And remember, like this video, share it with your friends, and hit that subscribe button for more gripping tales of Britain's greatest legends.